In the quiet, working-class neighborhood of Scotswood, England, children played among the crumbling buildings and abandoned lots. It was 1968, a year of change around the world. But nothing could prepare this small community for what would be uncovered in the shadows of their own streets. Because among the children running around the broken fences and alleyways was a little girl. Her name was Mary Bell. She had big blue eyes, a sweet face, and the cold heart of a killer. Mary Flora Bell was born on May 26, 1957, in Newcastle upon Tyne. But her life was anything but normal. Her mother, Betty Bell, was a troubled woman, a sex worker with a violent temper who was barely out of her teens when Mary was born. Rumors swirled that Betty tried to give Mary away multiple times. Once, she even attempted to make her disappear by feeding her sleeping pills. Mary survived, but something inside her began to twist. She witnessed abuse. She experienced neglect. And slowly, without anyone noticing, Mary Bell was becoming something far more dangerous than a broken child. By age 10, neighbors said she would often act strangely around other children, choking them during play, threatening them with scissors. But people chalked it up to kids being kids. No one believed she could actually hurt someone. But they were wrong. On May 25, 1968, the day before her 11th birthday, Mary Bell made a decision that would shock the entire nation. A 4-year-old boy named Martin Brown was found dead in a derelict house. At first, it seemed like a tragic accident. The boy had no visible injuries, and police believed he had simply gotten into something poisonous or fallen. But something didn't add up. The day after Martin's death, Mary returned to the scene with a friend named Norma Bell. Despite the shared last name, they weren't related. The girls broke into a nursery school and vandalized it. On the walls, they left creepy, chilling messages. "I murder so that I may come back. We did murder Martin Brown." At first, police dismissed the messages as a cruel prank. But that was just the beginning. Just 2 months later, on July 31, 1968, 3-year-old Brian Howe went missing. This time, Mary Bell didn't wait for someone else to find him. She led police to his body, hidden in the tall grass of a nearby wasteland. Brian had been strangled. But this murder was even more disturbing than the first. His genitals had been mutilated. His hair was cut. And someone had used a razor blade to carve the letter M into his stomach. At just 11 years old, Mary Bell had become a full-blown sadistic killer. And yet, she showed no emotion. When police interviewed her, she was calm, cold, calculating. She even suggested that maybe a local boy had done it. Someone, not Mary, she smirked. But her lies began to unravel. Witnesses said they'd seen Mary and Norma with Brian shortly before he disappeared. Others claimed Mary had bragged about killing a boy just hours after his body was found. The police zeroed in. And on August 5, 1968, Mary and Norma were arrested. When Mary Bell stood trial in December of that year, the courtroom was stunned. Here was an 11-year-old girl, small, pretty, with ribbons in her hair, being tried for 2 brutal murders. The prosecution painted her as manipulative and violent. The defense argued she was a victim of abuse, mentally disturbed and emotionally broken. Norma, her friend, was terrified in court. She cried, stuttered, and ultimately was acquitted. But Mary? She sat silent, cold, unfazed. Eventually, the jury found her guilty of manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. The judge declared her a grave risk to other children and sentenced her to be detained at Her Majesty's pleasure, an indefinite sentence. Mary Bell had officially become Britain's youngest female serial killer. She was 11 years old. Mary spent the next 12 years moving between various reform schools and secure psychiatric units. During that time, psychologists and staff described her as highly intelligent, but dangerously manipulative. She was obsessed with gaining control. Some reports even stated that she showed no remorse for her crimes during her early years in custody. But then, something changed. By the time she turned 23, after years of counseling, reflection, and therapy, Mary Bell was deemed no longer a danger to society. In 1980, she was released with a brand new identity. From that day forward, Mary Bell was no longer Mary Bell. She vanished from public view. Her new identity was protected by a government order, and her location kept secret. Over the years, the British press tried to track her down, but she always seemed one step ahead. In 2003, it was revealed that Mary had become a mother. And in a controversial move, the government granted her daughter the same lifelong anonymity, arguing that the sins of the mother should not ruin the child. The public was divided. Some believed Mary had served her time. Others believed she should never have walked free. But one thing was clear. The girl who had once strangled toddlers with her bare hands, carved into their flesh, and smiled through police interrogations was now walking freely among us. The story of Mary Bell is more than just a true crime case. It's a disturbing reminder that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes, it looks like an 11-year-old girl with pigtails and a crooked smile. She was a victim, yes. But she also created victims. She was a child. But she committed acts so dark, they still haunt England to this day. And the question that still lingers even now, was Mary Bell born evil? Or was she made that way by a world that failed to protect her? We may never know. But somewhere out there, Mary Bell still lives. Under a new name, a new face, and a past that will never go away.